Hello, this is Reverend Don Lewis coming to you from beautiful Florida. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about the Infinite Tarot. If you're not already familiar with the Infinite Tarot, it is an infinitely customizable system of tarot, which I have created and for which I have a Kickstarter going at tarotai.com. If you didn't know, you know now. And please feel free to check it out. I'm going to talk a little bit about it now, but there's also more information at tarotai.com. And the idea of the Infinite Tarot is that as our understanding of the universe has evolved, so our understanding of tarot as a description of the universe also needs to evolve. As we've moved from the idea of a universe to a multiverse, I feel the tarot needs to be more expandable, more customizable, just as our understandings and our existence are infinite in character. And the base of the Infinite Tarot is the Tarot of Hecate, which is a 100-card tarot deck, which was designed many years ago. And it includes the major arcana, plus several extra major arcana that are not in a standard deck. And it includes the normal four suits, such as pentacles and wands and swords and cups, but also a fifth suit, which is the suit of lamps. And it's this deck that we're going to be using today. And I'll show you some of the pictures. High Priestess, Queen of Wands, the Fool, the Seven of Wands, the Death card, the Ten of Lamps, the Soul card, which is one of those extra major arcana cards. We're going to be using this today to do some brief readings in just a few moments. And I'm going to be doing this on a regular basis throughout the next few weeks, depending on how the campaign goes. When it's going well, I will do one. This is one of our expansion decks. It's based on the runes. And you can see we have Fehu, we have Thurisaz, we have Ivaz, we have Dagas or Dayas. All of the runes are included. And this is one of the additional decks that can go in to the Infinite Tarot if you choose to include it. You can take cards out, you can put cards in, you can make your own unique deck that is unlike anyone else's. Here we have the Shengzhou deck, which is based on the Shengzhou Chinese astrological calendar. And you can see we have the goat, we have the horse, we have the rat, we have the tiger, and all of those familiar Chinese signs. We have the Muses deck, which is the 9 muses of classical mythology. And you can see that they are all here. And we have, for example, Terpsichore. We have Melpomene. We have Clio. We have Calliope. And all 9 of the familiar muses. And in the accompanying book, it talks about how to use them for divination and what the divinatory meaning of these cards would be. And that's true for all of these different decks. And then we also have an astrology expansion deck. And you can see we have the Sun, we have Capricorn, we have Aries, we have Jupiter, we have Libra, all of the planets and all of the signs. And again, they also have divinatory meanings that are in the manual. Each one of these decks comes with a card similar to this. In some cases, the parts are placed differently, but they all include a QR code where you can download the accompanying manual. The books are also available in book form or downloadable form that comes with the deck. And You can learn more about the idea and what the other expansion decks are at tearawayeye.com. And again, we're going to do some brief readings today. And when things are going particularly well, I will do this again. And if you would like to be included in future broadcasts, comment under the video, and we will contact you about when that is possible. So, who have we got?
The first person is Chris. It's Chris.
Chris. Hello, Chris. So what can I tell you today, Chris? What would you like to know about, or do you just want to see what they have to say?
There we go.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
How are you today?
I am absolutely phenomenal.
Wonderful. So did you have a particular... Oh, go ahead.
I was just curious to see, I guess, number one, my connection with Hecate, and two, how she's going to help me with my business for the rest of this year, since it's only like 4 months.
Okay. So the first question has to do with your personal connection to the goddess Hecate. The second, what you can expect from her regarding business in the remainder of the year. So let us...
And thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you for having a question. I'm sure we'll both enjoy it. Now, I do want to point out, I do not have a screen in front of me, so I'm trying to make sure the cards are in the camera, but I do not guarantee that that will be the case.
They are.
Our first card is the Past, which is one of those extra major arcana cards I was speaking of. Time, also one of those extra cards. And the Nine of Lamps. This has to do with the personal relationship. And the Past card says that it's very important not to be bound by the past. Whatever may have been here before, make sure that you're open to new patterns to emerge. They may have been wonderful patterns in the past, but they're not the ones you need in the present and the future. So allow the relationship to evolve, and you will find that it will do so. Time in this question says that current circumstances are not permanent circumstances. Things that are going on now will evolve and change. And obviously these two kind of go together in this question. In terms of your relationship with the goddess, it is in a process of spiritual evolution, and you need to allow that evolution to occur. And it may bring you some very different understandings. It may bring you some different interactions, but this will be for the best. And it will be a maturing and a blossoming of the relationship. And then we have the Nine of Lamps. And the Nine of Lamps represents coming into your own power, being in a position of competence and strength. And so what I would say is that what you're going to find in terms of your personal relationship with the goddess Hecate in the near future and in the present is that it's evolving into a potentially much stronger relationship than it's been in the past. Even if it's felt very strong and very positive, which no doubt it has been, it's going to be more so. And so allow that growth to occur, and be flexible in how you relate to the goddess. There's a saying that I often use that the messenger can warp the message. And part of what that means is that if your ideas of what are possible in your interaction with a goddess or a spirit are limited to only certain things, only those things can really come through. I'll tell you a little story to illustrate this. And that is that years ago, at the Corel Mother Temple, we work with ancestors very heavily. And in those years, our interactions with the ancestors were always very dignified, very reserved, very, for want of a better way to put it, august. Lady Bitterwind, the former first elder of the Corellian tradition, pointed out to us one day that based on all of the stories of the ancestors, they were very lively, very humorous, very interesting people. And she thought we were censoring our communications with them, that we were not allowing them to express these qualities that they had had in life. And so we asked the ancestors, are we censoring you? And they said, well, duh. And literally said that. And after that, our interactions changed drastically. They were just as accurate. They'd always been very accurate. They were just as positive, but suddenly they became much more humorous and much more lively because the ancestors had always had this characteristic. We had just not been prepared to accept it prior to that point. So you may find that by being flexible, the goddess will reveal aspects of herself that you have not yet seen that will be very important to your own personal evolution. Now, to go on to the second part of the question, in terms of what you can expect from the goddess relative to your business situation in the remainder of this year. And our first card is the Princess of Lamps. Our second card is the Princess of Cups. Interesting, because they were drawn from very different places in the deck. And our final card is the Three of Cups. So the Princess of Lamps represents the use of magic in one's daily life as a force to transform that life. So it's saying very, very expressly that in terms of working with Hecate and your business situation, you must play an active magical role. She will help, but you must definitely do your part in focusing that energy. The Princess of Cups represents emotion. Often it can represent the emotions being all over the place. And, you know, the way the economy has gone, the way that the pandemic has gone, that certainly is a place that many people are. So you may find yourself feeling very emotional about this situation. But if you do, you must remember that you have the magical ability to change the circumstances that may seem unstable or difficult. And I would say that you'll find yourself feeling that things are unstable or difficult. You'll find yourself feeling emotional about them, but you must not allow that to take away from your knowledge that you can focus the energy of the situation to derive the outcome that you want. And since this question is specifically about the interaction of the goddess Hecate, you can work with her to do this. Then we have the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is celebration. And so what I would say is that if you ignore whatever emotionality that you're feeling, and I shouldn't say ignore, but do not allow yourself to be overwhelmed by the emotionality you may be feeling. Stay focused on what you can do, magically and otherwise, that you'll have a very good outcome. I'm going to draw one more card for this as well. I may regret that because that sometimes means we need to draw more than one, but not here. We have the King of Pentacles, and the King of Pentacles represents the ability to make money, the ability to achieve prosperity, the ability to achieve stability, all the things you'd want in a business question. So what I would say, again, is if you stay focused on your ability to shape the energy, to use magic and your spiritual relationship with the goddess that we are asking about, you will find a very positive outcome in the business situation. Both the Three of Cups and the King of Pentacles represent a good, happy, and prosperous outcome. And so there we go. Is there anything else I can tell you?
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And
And you have a lovely, lovely day.
And
You
remember,
too.
And remember, you can find out more about the deck at tarotai.com.
I'm a member of Witch School, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
will look.
Thank
Yes.
you. I'm so glad to hear that.
all right, and now we bring on Mary.
And if you are a member of Witch School, we also have a class about the Tarot of Hecate, where you can learn much more about this particular deck. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I am good, Lord Don. How are you today?
I'm very good. And what can I tell you today?
How about just a general what is going on in the next 6 months?
The next 6 months? Very good. Our first card shall be the Six of Lamps, followed by the Ten of Lamps, followed by the Seven of Swords. So, as I mentioned earlier, lamps are the fifth deck that is present, or the fifth suit that is present in the Tarot of Hecate. And it specifically relates to spiritual issues. So it's saying that as you go forward in this 6 months, spirituality, your personal spiritual growth, your personal spiritual condition will be of very, very great importance in where your focus lies. Six of Lamps says that you're going to find yourself looking for understanding or meaning in the events that are transpiring. The story behind the card, the protagonist is seeking a vision and receiving it. And so you will be seeking that understanding and also receiving that understanding. It's a growing awareness, a growing connection of where you are and why you are there. But it's not immediate. It only comes with the looking. With it is the Ten of Lamps, which largely represents being in the state that the six is looking for, being spiritually connected. You can see the little lightning bolt here. And so this may be a bit of a spiritual awakening. You know, no matter how long we've been in spirituality, awakening happens in stages. And I would say that there will be a spiritual expansion for you during this period. You know, that can be very disruptive in how it feels when it occurs, but it's very positive afterwards. I think you're going to find your consciousness somewhat expanded because of this, and certainly your understanding of where you are and where you're going. And in 6 months, it may have changed a bit from what it is now. With it is the Seven of Swords, which says there are going to be times when you feel like you cannot really deal with that. There are times where you're going to want to tell Spirit, no, we're not doing this right now. We're going to come back to this later, which Spirit may or may not listen to. But the truth of the matter is you can deal with it. It's just that it will be momentarily a lot to deal with. And at that moment, I would say step back for a little while, let it settle, come back to it, it will be fine. The Seven of Swords is definitely not a card of not being able to do what you desire to do. It's just saying that there's work involved, and it may sometimes seem overwhelming. We're going to draw some more cards. And we have drawn the Queen of Coins, Queen of Pentacles, Justice, and the Princess of Wands. So the Queen of Pentacles represents prosperity, particularly in the sense of sharing your own prosperity with others. So it's saying you'll be in a very good position in terms of everything physical. And not only that, but you'll be sharing that. That could mean could mean a lot of different things, but what it's saying is that it definitely is not just your own prosperity, but it's prosperity within company. Justice is getting what you've wanted. And so this 6-month period, although there may be times when it feels like a lot of work, it's leading you exactly to where you want to be. And you'll feel very good about it when you get there. You may also find that when you get there, after all of this work at spiritual expansion and understanding, you find that you really knew all along, you just didn't realize. I find that's often the case with expansion of consciousness. And the Princess of Wands says that you're ready for this now, but it's not quite time. It will come during the 6 months, but it's not tomorrow. And you must be patient in allowing these things to unfold. And we're going to draw one more card. We've drawn the Death card. And despite the image, it's the Death and Rebirth card. And so I would take this to mean that this this expansion of spiritual consciousness will take old things out of your life and bring new things in. It will be a turning over. It will take you to where you want to be, but it will make changes at the same time. Not negative changes, but definite changes. And just because I don't want to end on that one, we'll draw one more. Because I can't help myself. And we've drawn Strength. And Strength is just what it sounds like. It says that you are more than able to handle everything that's transpiring here. You may occasionally feel overwhelmed by it, but you won't actually be overwhelmed by it because you have the strength to deal with it all. And the knowledge to deal with it, as long as you don't allow emotion to overwhelm you. And this doesn't really suggest, except for this one card, that that will be an issue. But it does say there are times when you may want to slow things down a little bit. You may want to kind of step back and then keep going. And there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. And so there you go. Anything else I can tell you?
That's quite enough. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
I did ask.
Well, you know, the cards say what they're going to say. And, you know, I've been reading cards. I got my first tarot deck when I was like 9 years old. My mother got it for me. It was the Tarot of the Hoi Polloi. And it's here in one of these other rooms. I still have it. And I've always considered it one of my favorite decks. And of course, at 9, I didn't really understand deeply what it meant, but I wasn't supposed to. I was just supposed to get used to it, so that a few years later I could actually learn how to use it properly. But I've been reading cards my whole life, really. And when I started, I did big elaborate spreads and all that good nonsense. But I found that for me, just drawing cards and reading them one after another is a more effective way of doing a reading. Now, this again is the Tarot of Hecate, and I'm going to add this specific expansion deck, the astrology deck, into my Tarot of Hecate for the next reading. And this is how the Infinite Tarot works. You can put new things in, you can take old things out, until it becomes totally unique to your personal preferences. Just like the nature of existence. And you can learn more about this and more about the idea behind the Infinite Tarot at tarotai.com. And we have a number of expansion decks, which I've talked about. There are more coming. And the goal is to continue to produce widely varying expansions to this tarot to allow it to be, in fact, infinitely customizable. And therefore, while certain cards may be in everyone's Infinite Tarot, others will be utterly unique to them. And I'm just going to draw a couple of cards while we're waiting for the next question. And as you can see, it changes the nature of what we get. We now have astrological cards coming in as well. And do I understand we have someone waiting? Or, okay, we have,
They don't want to be on the air.
okay. Can they type it into chat?
They said, yeah, whatever they want.
Oh,
Whatever
just
you
whatever it
say.
says. Okay. Well, let me first tell you these three, which I guess fell out for me. We have the Seven of Pentacles, which obviously is finding your strength, waiting for things to grow and blossom. Or in this case, I would say, going through the course of our 45-day Kickstarter campaign, which is now down to more like 30 days, I believe. It's with Pisces, and Pisces is emotional, sensitive, creative. And obviously that is the nature of this project. It's all about creativity. Even the aspect of reading has to do with creativity, relation to higher self, relation to spirit. And we have Jupiter, which is actually a very fortunate outcome card, if we want to consider this an outcome card, because it's expansion and prosperity. And so that's an example of how our astrological cards play into the deck. Now,
They fell off,
oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
but next time.
But next time, they're welcome to come back. And if you would like a reading in our next broadcast, include a comment under the video, and we will contact you. And we'll be doing this again in a couple of days. As I said earlier, when we reach milestones in the campaign, or even just because I feel good about it, we'll do another broadcast. And I hope you've enjoyed this. And until next time.